Okay, today's the 29th April. We're having a MicroProfile AI conversation. Okay, Antoine, you just go ahead, share your screen and take us through.
So I'm sharing the screen on meeting minutes. Let's me. I'm always yes, sharing. It's the green button in the middle. It should be easy.
Yeah.
Okay. And share, and that's it.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I have also to animate the meeting as well. Okay. We as you may know, we have a talk about CDI Lite and Longchain 4G integration in July with Jan, which is here, and Pierre also. So even if we didn't have to say very deep discussion with our Red Hat friends regarding the Longchain 4G Quarkus extension, we started to do something on our side to do some experiments. So that's the only real stuff that we did this week, and it could be the starting point in the future of a given implementation. So I don't know if you followed the previous discussion, Clément. If John.
No, it's actually so last week John Kingan. I don't know if John is around actually.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, John pinged me on our internal messaging system and say, hey, they are discussing things in the MicroProfile AI, and I have some question about Quarkus Longchain 4J and whether it's possibly it could be used as a base for a future specification. I can't remember the wording of John, but yeah, I wanted to explain a little bit what we're doing here and our point of view about this.
Okay.
I can do that now. I don't know.
No, you can't. I'm very sad. I thought that it was my email that make you come here, but it's nice to see you.
So John,
I think I beat you to the punch. That's all.
Yeah,
I texted
so
during the call.
John told me that you sent an email, and I say to John, where? And he didn't reply. So I didn't read your email.
It wasn't a personal email, but
I replied. I said Gmail, I thought. Sorry.
Anyway,
yeah.
So
yeah, go on.
We started this Quarkus Longchain 4J exploration, because that's an exploration, back in November, something like that. Initially, it was mostly a wrapper around the Longchain 4J library, and after that, we decided to try something else to actually try to build a component that would let you write what I call AI-infused applications. So an application which use AI to implement some features, so summarization, whatever. And when you start doing this and considering building AI-infused application, you quickly start realizing that integrating your model is more than just wrapping a REST API, which is what you see in many languages, because you consider your interaction with the model as an integration point, like you would do with a REST API or with a database. So what it means? It means that you need to have something like security, observability, auditing, and so on, all built in. And we started writing such kind of things. We also moved to this declarative AI service. But the reason is not because we wanted to go there, it's because it makes implementing all the features we want way easier if we have some declarative service like that. So we started doing that, and we break it probably 6 or 7 times in the last 6 months, because it's actually, well, it's evolved very, very quickly. Both the AI world evolved, Longchain4j evolved. So we worked closely with Dimitro, which is working for Red Hat, so the lead of Longchain4j. We have continuous discussion and trying to see where we're going and things like that. And Quarkus Longchain4j has more and more users and more requests, feature requests, which are all very, very good. Like it make a lot of sense, but we have to rethink constantly how things works, how we do the integration, and how to make things more efficient, better for the users. How does it adhere to the live coding and things like that, the dev UI and so on. And right now, for example, we just released the easy RAG support, and we start looking at how we can pass images and videos and things like that, and start to be a problem because we don't have a common usable APIs for that in Java. For image, we can say byte array. It mostly fit in memory. But for videos, you clearly see that it's not going to work. So you need to stream. And then you have the problem is that how do we stream? Because input stream, output stream just won't work in a reactive framework like Quarkus and things like that. So all this to say that we are still in the early days of that project. We're still exploring many different things. And while the only thing we agree, like, okay, probably the user message annotation and the system message annotation are here to stay, but everything else is things that may change and things like that. So, and well, just this morning, and Antonio, you will love this morning. I was discussing with Guillaume Laforge. We had a call with Guillaume about a model from Google, and we have hard time to integrate with model from Google because one of the things that is required in Quarkus Longchain4j is to have all the features I mentioned. We need to tweak the network stack to use our Quarkus network stack, so we have all the metrics, the right metrics, and so on. So we can't really use a client on the shelf because those clients are generally not managed or not observed as we want. And so we had that discussion with Guillaume from Google so he explained us what we can do. Not going to be easy, but we can. But just that is going to request some changes in Quarkus Longchain4j to make this possible. So at that point, and we started the project almost 6 months ago, maybe a bit more, and we are still, won't say in the dark, but we know where we want to go, but it's evolving so quickly and in so different things that we are constantly rewriting the thing, and Georgios is doing an amazing job is doing that, but yeah. So when John say, hey, they want to try to write a spec on top of AI, I said, well, okay, but a spec on top of AI from May 2024 or a spec on top for AI in September 2024? Because unfortunately, I can tell you one thing, it's going to be completely different. The context size will be huge. The RAG will be finally killed. I hope. That's my sincerely hope, because RAG is for me really simple and too simple to make anything useful, but that's my opinion. Models will evolve. In October, GPT-5 is planned to be released, if I'm not mistaken. Antonio, you may have more insight about that. Google, and I know from this morning, they're continuing Gemini, Vertex with an E and not the network stack of Quarkus. Well, Llama 3 was released like last week or something like that, and just Llama 3 has completely changed how how I work with AI on my daily basics. I was using Mistral because it's a French company, and since I tried using Llama 3, I completely switched to Llama 3. But Llama 3 prompting model is totally different from the Mistral model. So basically, I had to rewrite almost all my prompts just for that. So yeah, it's I can understand the why you want to do that, but it's super tricky. And for Quarkus Longchain4j, we are really at the early days and still toying and exploring and well, this is not a help me message, but you can see that sometimes when I receive an email and say, hey, how do I do that? Help. Like, what? Whatever. But anyway, so yeah, it's really, we're still really exploring the space.
Antonio, you wanted
Antonio,
to say
you have a question?
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, around the table, we tend to all agree that writing a spec is not appropriate at the moment. But there's one thing I want to ask you, because you mentioned that a few times. You know, our idea is to aim the MicroProfile, Jakarta, EE, whatever. My question is, you mentioned the reactive world and the reactive nature of Quarkus, and that brings more complexity. You mentioned streaming byte arrays and input streams and whatever. We don't have this issue with MicroProfile. So the question is, how much do you think, if you can guess, how much more complexity is added by the reactive world? You know, if you didn't have the reactive world, how easier would it have been to integrate Longchain4j?
That's a very good question, and the answer is nothing, because basically right now we only use our blocking APIs. We are not using any reactive APIs in Quarkus Longchain4j, at least for now. There are reasons for that, and one of the main reasons is Longchain4j itself, which has not been designed to be asynchronous by nature. There's this SSC CNI, but you don't want to really dig too much into that, because I have long discussion with Dimitro to explain that might need to change to something really streaming without too many threads. We have also issues is that there are constructs in Longchain4j which are not compatible with virtual threads. Well, it works, but you may monopolize or you may pin your virtual thread, which is not something we want. But that's things that we are going to push inside Longchain4j. But the reactive side in Quarkus Longchain4j, we are not using it. All our APIs are actually blocking. We have added support for multi for SSE, but again, because the SSE of Longchain4j is actually blocking, it's just an artifact. It's not really reactive. No, the problem is that we need to use our reactive stack to do the. We need to use our HTTP clients, typically, or gRPC clients, because we want the security propagation, we want the tracing, we want all this. If you use, well, in your case, Antonio, if I'm using the Azure SDK, even if I use a Netty adapter, Netty client that you, or even the Vertex client, because you ship it now, that is not enough. I need something that is plugged with the rest of my system, where if I get a principal from in my security system, this gets sent to somewhere else and verifies that the tools that I have are actually allowed to be executed by that users. Same thing for the tracing, well, obviously metrics and so on. So that's actually what makes the whole thing complicated. It's not the reactive side. If it would have been the reactive side, Antonio, it would have been fixed a long time ago. I would have spent 2 hours and it would be done. But unfortunately, it's everything else.
So I think I get, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, I think I have got what Clement said is complicated. However, we are not in a position to release the spec this year. So this will be a long running. I think it's kind of, we need to basically have the similar, basically the vision. So we get together, and it's pretty much we investigate this and then learn, like as a group, and then basically monitor LLM, monitor the technology. We basically come up with something we think, okay, that's the right way to go. And we are thinking, if we are lucky, if we can ship something next year, that would be a bigger plus. However, I think this is a platform for us to get together, pretty much exchange ideas and to see how much we can do in this space. Maybe we have to do gradually for some bit. We can basically put in the spec, and some bit we don't have any clue what to do. But I think it's as a group, and I'm sure we can work something out. I think
Yes,
Antonio first. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. No, it just what about trying to contribute to the LangChain 4J Quarkus extension? You were talking about learning, Emily, and it looks like, well, when you look at the code of the Quarkus extension, there's a lot of code. You know, I thought wrapping LangChain 4J would have been 2 or 3 classes, but no, it's by the hundreds. So it looks like it's way more complex than we thought. So maybe also what we could do in parallel in our free time or whatever is try to contribute as much as we can to the Quarkus LangChain extension, either in way or the other, because Clément, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's, of course, doing the Quarkus extension, but also updating LangChain itself so it becomes easier to integrate. Am I correct in saying that?
I'm looking for the raise hand button since 3 minutes. Like, where is that?
I had the same problem the first time.
All right, so the code base of LangChain, of the Quarkus LangChain 4J is not that big, but there are already 100 modules. And actually, when Georgios told me a few hours ago that we have 100 modules, I was like, what went wrong? And actually, because seriously, like, so, but we need to integrate every model provider. But what is taking a lot of code is every embedding store, so vector store, Milviews, Redis, Infinispan, and so on and so on. And that add a lot of code because we need to configure these clients and so on, and we do that in a Quarkus way. Configuration is typically one of the things you do in such kind of thing. So you don't necessarily, well, for a provider you do, but yeah. And that is requiring quite some code, actually more code than the model provider. And one cool thing that we have seen that has completely changed over the past few, I would even say weeks, is that when we started that effort, we had three APIs that were competing. We have the OpenAI API, we have the TGIS, so the Hugging Face APIs, and we have the Ollama own APIs. And they were all in competition to try to be the APIs that everybody would be using. OpenAI won completely. TGIS is dead completely. And for TGIS, there are many versions because everybody has forked his own version, including IBM, by the way, Emily. So it's crazy how many versions of these APIs you have. Ollama decided that they are removing their own APIs, which I believe is a good thing. You need to understand the market, and if the market is going to use another API, just use that other API. So that means that we are going to be able to remove a lot of the code we have currently, because for all these APIs, we have the REST client. We are using the MicroProfile REST client for that, which we will be able to remove, and that's pretty cool because everybody is accepting that it's going to be the OpenAI one. So that's one thing. But for the embedding store, yeah, everybody is pushing his own technologies. And well, you were at Devox, Antonio. I was not there, but I watched a few things, and most of the talk I've seen can be summarized as my RAG is bigger than yours. And
I have the bigger vector than yours. That's it.
Yeah, more or less. Like you say, damn, that's not the point. But whatever. Everybody is pushing his own technology here, and that's why we have so much code. Now, whether you use Milvus, Infinispan, Redis, or whatever, doesn't change much, because what matters is the embedding model you use to compute the vector, not where it's stored. Well, whether or not you can do metadata-based search is important, but it's actually the embedding models that matters, not Milvus or Redis. Who cares? But yeah, I agree. So the code for the providers is going to be simplified in the future. The code for embedding stores is like crazy. And the RAG, actually, one of the things that we have introduced recently is that we now have 3 flavors of RAG. We have the RAG, we have the easy RAG, and we have the advanced RAG. Yeah, we suck at naming, but you all know that. And the advanced RAG is actually, for me, the most interesting things right now, because it actually splits the RAG process into various steps, like what needs to happen, and how these steps are composed. And it's actually abstracts the need for an embedding model. And basically, if you go to the Quarkus on Chain4j and you go to samples, you will have a sample, I think it's CSV chatbot. And if you look at how it's done, it's actually a RAG, but without embedding store. Because we have, so it's a movie recommendation, Cine. And the movies are inside a Postgre table. Simple. You take your whatever Java EE or Quarkus or Open Liberty applications, if write using Hibernate or whatever, to a table, that's your table, nothing else. The only thing you need to know is the schema of your table, but generally, I hope you know a little bit the schema of your table, or you will have been in trouble anyway. So what we do there is to say, first step is to actually take the user query and ask the LLM to compute and to generate the SQL statement, the SQL statement that will give me the movie that are related to that user query. So I give the schema and say, okay, here is the schema, it's the user, and give me the SQL statement. So of course we verify that it's a select and not a drop table statement, so that it makes some sense. And then we execute that and we get our result, and then we continue the RAG. What's interesting there is that this mechanism that doesn't use an embedding store is way more accurate in that case. And that case is what? That case is structured data, where you have a table. Embedding models are very great where you have unstructured data, where you can apply semantic search. But when you have a structured data, semantic search doesn't work. It doesn't work because very quickly you will be either under matching, meaning that there is no way you can match the user query to the tables, to the columns, or something like that. Or you will be over matching in the sense that because the distance between all your records, all the lines inside your tables are not that far from each other, like, well, many things are, a lot of the entries are very similar. The distance between them are quite small, which means that when you execute your query, you will get a lot of documents that will get back. But because your context is limited, you are going to do what? Well, take the first 3. But the first 3 doesn't mean that they are the most accurate one or the best one or whatever. It just means that you overmatch, and doesn't really work for such kind of structured data. So that's why we started going with this weird advanced RAG and this SQL-based demo. And it's actually super accurate. Well, if your table contains the right data, then yeah, it's very, very accurate. And that's a domain that I found very interesting, is trying to implement RAG, but using structured data, the data we all have in our companies, LDAPs or yeah, and not necessarily, oh, I have a bunch of documents and I want to write a chatbot for the documentation of my project. Yeah, sure, but that was nice a year ago. No, it's already passé.
Emily,
So
you
yeah,
want-
I'm way talking too much. Yeah, Emily, you're probably tired to raise your hand.
Yeah, it's a great background information. So the other thing I want to kind of add is this oh, I thought I was on mute. This I had a chat with Roberto, who is a maintainer for the small right projects, and basically this is another basically avenue we could explore this technology and etc. is to create a project there. So I think is if we create a project in SmallRye, so different runtime can benefit from that. Like people can pull that kind of the experiment to different like a runtime, so they can try it out. So for that, actually, it's Clement, you mentioned about chat AI and etc. I was thinking actually it's two bigger scenario. One is kind of pretty much chat API. The other thing is basically is RAG, the embeddings API. So basically it's the kind of the, and then we have these two streams, like is how much we can do with the chat interface and how much we can do with the embedding area. And there is the other thing is that also for this, we should push away like integrate with which LLM. Maybe it's kind of that's pretty much like a different runtime. We have different choices. I understand Quarkus is trying to cover quite a lot LLMs. So should we like just target one mature ones, and then just focus on that? And if any runtime want to cover more, so that be there will be all the different LLM have different stages, or of course there will be a different integration point. So that's the kind of what I'm thinking, how to move this project forward and benefit more. Yeah.
So sorry, I still didn't find the raise button. That's this, yeah. Anyway, so defining the interface. Typically, we had a lot of conversation with Jan Mavritska, which work for Red Hat and contribute to the Quarkus N4J, about how the interface of an embedding store, both for the ingestion side and the query side, and whether or not it should be a single thing or two things. And right now it's a single thing because we want simplicity, but I'm not totally sure about that. My CQRS ideas make that write and read should be separated objects for avoiding things. But anyway, so having a SmallRye project where we can discuss this interface, yeah, make a lot of sense. Now, reusing code from Quarkus Long-Chain4j, almost no possibility. It's really, for all the reasons I explained, it's made to work in Quarkus. It's made to satisfy the build time, processing, all our security stack, observability stacks, and so on. It's not something you will be able to reuse in any other runtime. And honestly, it's not something we don't believe. If it will be possible, we will do it. But right now, we are just iterating way too fast to make something that could be up running. So discussing interface there, yeah, you have a big plus one, and I will participate to this conversation. How does it look? The chat interface, what I call an AI service. How do we do prompting, system message, user message, all this? We can have a SmallRye repository where we discuss things. This meeting, if we if you want me to come back, there is no problem for that. Reusing code from Quarkus Longchain4j, that is going to be pretty hard, unfortunately. So yeah, I believe every runtime will have to implement on its own, because even for OpenLiberty, you will have to wrap the clients provided by Longchain4j for OpenLiberty. And actually, I will even add, it's even harder for OpenLiberty because you have this
Why?
constant on.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh yeah.
See, you can
Oh,
work on
good luck
Liberty
with
now.
Oh, you are going to love, yeah. That seriously, kudos.
Sorry,
It's
guys,
great.
to interrupt. We have reached the end of the meeting, but it's very, very interesting. Do you think you can join us next week, Clement, to continue discussion?
That's May, so it's a full month of holiday,
Yeah,
no, in France?
That's the reason why I ask.
No. Next week is the 6th. Yeah, no problem. I can, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
By the
that would be great.
way, by the way, I don't have any meeting for this meeting next week on Monday. I don't know if it's normal or if I have
Oh,
an issue.
really?
Yeah.
Actually, I
It
think
should
I
be.
do have it in the MicroProfile one. No. No, you're right. No.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there is no
I will
meeting.
fix it. Okay.
Okay.
We'll.
So I think we.
Oh,
like-
it is there. It is there. I can see it. Oh, hang on. Yeah, you are right. You are right. Yeah, I will make sure I extend it, and yeah, I will make sure it's extended. Okay,
Okay.
I will fix it.
So like they say in a nice American show, this discussion is not over. We'll have to continue it next
Yeah,
week.
yeah. It's
Unfortunately, it's the beginning of the journey, and we probably need 2 years to get anything stabilized.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to have more conversation. So in this case, like I know it's well over time, just so quick. So for small right project, shall we have it created? What's the name do you guys want?
Perhaps we have to think about it for next week.
Okay.
No?
Think about.
Emily, I can create the project, so let's
Oh,
discuss
okay.
next
So
week. And as soon
okay.
as we decide on a name and we agree on a name, I can create it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I will get the calendar fixed. Okay,
Okay.
then. Thanks. Yeah.
Bye.
Great.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.